It's a brutally hot afternoon on the African savanna, about 2 million years ago. You're an early human, and right now you are chasing an antelope. You are not going to catch it by being fast. That antelope is faster than you, always will be. It can hit speeds you can only dream about in a car you don't own yet. But you have something it doesn't. You're going to follow it, for hours, through the worst heat of the day. And slowly, that antelope is going to overheat, stagger, and stop, because it's wearing a thick fur coat in blistering heat. And you aren't. You are, by the standards of every other large animal out here, completely naked, a bald, sweaty, weirdly pink primate jogging across a continent full of furry creatures, and somehow winning. So what happened to us? Why are humans the only big land animal without a coat? When did we lose it? And here's the part that should bother you. How could we possibly know when skin and hair never fossilize? The answer involves long-distance running, a surprising amount of parasites, and a clue hidden inside the gene that controls your skin color. Stick around for that last one. Let's go. First, let's appreciate how genuinely weird this is. Gorillas? Covered. Chimps, sharing almost all of our DNA? Covered. Orangutans, baboons, lemurs, every single one of our primate cousins is wearing a full coat. Lions, wolves, bears, deer, even the hippo sitting in a river in punishing heat. Fur, 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 all the way down. And then there's us, smooth, a little patchy, weirdly pink in places, standing in the middle of all that biodiversity, looking like we lost a bet. Except, and this is the first thing almost everyone gets wrong, you are not actually hairless. Look at your arm right now. It's covered in hair. Tiny, fine, barely there hair. But it's there. In fact, you have roughly the same number of hair follicles as a chimpanzee. Same count. We didn't lose our hair. We shrank it. Our ancestors swapped thick, warm animal fur for this. Millions of near-invisible little wisps that do basically nothing. So the real question isn't, why did humans go bald? It's, why did we keep every follicle but quietly switch off the fur? And the answer starts with the worst possible career choice an animal can make. Running, on purpose, in the heat. Around 2 million years ago, our ancestors moved out of the shady forest and onto open grassland. Hot, exposed, almost no cover. And they started doing something almost no other predator does. They started hunting prey by walking and running it to death. It's called persistence hunting. You can't outsprint an antelope, but you can outlast it. You follow it, keep it moving, never let it rest, until its body simply can't dump heat fast enough, and it collapses. Harvard's Daniel Lieberman has spent years arguing that our whole body got rebuilt for exactly this. But there's one brutal problem with running for hours under the sun. Heat. A working muscle is basically a furnace, and if you can't cool it, you cook. A thick fur coat in that situation is a death sentence. You'd overheat and drop before your dinner did. So evolution made a trade. It turned the fur down, and it turned something else way, way up. Sweat glands. You have somewhere between 2 and 4 million of them. That is more than almost any animal on Earth. You are a world-class professional-grade moisture emitter. If sweating were an Olympic event, humans would take gold, silver, and bronze, and then sweat on the podium. Most animals cool down by panting, which is slow and frankly pathetic by comparison. We cool down by leaking water out of our entire surface at once and letting it evaporate. Naked skin, plus a few million sweat glands, turned a slow, unimpressive primate into the best long-distance heat engine on the savanna. That's theory number 1. And for a long time, that was the whole story. Except, it can't tell us when. And that's where it gets good. Here's the problem that drove scientists insane for decades. Skin doesn't fossilize. Hair doesn't fossilize. You can dig up a 2 million-year-old skeleton and learn what it ate and how it walked. but the bones will never ever tell you whether that creature was furry or bald. The single most interesting thing about our bodies left no trace in the ground. So how could we possibly know when we went naked? The answer is hiding somewhere you'd never think to look, in the gene that controls the color of your skin. As long as you're covered in fur, the skin underneath stays shaded and pale. Chimps under their hair actually have pale skin. But the moment you lose that fur, out on the open savanna, your bare skin is suddenly exposed to some of the most punishing ultraviolet radiation on the planet. Pale skin out there gets wrecked. So the instant we went naked, there would have been ferocious pressure to evolve dark, protective skin, fast. So scientists did something clever. They didn't go looking for the fur. They went looking for the dark skin by dating the gene responsible for it, a gene called MC1R. And when they ran the numbers, the dark skin version of that gene turned out to be more than 1.2 million years old. Let that sit for a second. We can't find the baldness anywhere in the fossil record, but we found the sunscreen the baldness forced us to invent, and it's over 1 million years old. Which means, by then, the fur was already gone. The skin told on us. Through a single gene, an animal that vanished more than 1 million years ago left a fingerprint that says, I was naked, and the sun was trying to kill me. But cooling can't be the whole story. Because if being naked is such a brilliant idea, you have to explain something awkward. Why is literally every other large mammal still wearing a coat? So here's theory number 2, and it's grosser. Parasites. Fur is a 5-star resort for ticks, fleas, and lice, and the diseases they carry. Scientists Mark Pagel and Walter Bodmer argued that losing your fur is like burning down the hotel these freeloaders live in. Less hair, fewer parasites, fewer infections, longer life. And then it gets a little vain. Once smooth skin signaled parasite-free, bare skin became attractive. A clear, hairless body was basically a billboard reading, I am healthy and clean. Please date me. Darwin himself suspected we lost our fur partly through sexual selection, generation after generation, finding less hair more appealing and quietly breeding it off the entire species. We are, in part, naked because our ancestors thought naked was hot. Do with that what you will. But that awkward question is still sitting there. If naked is so great, why didn't everyone do it? Because, for most animals, the math is completely different. They're not sprinting through the midday heat. So for them, fur is pure upside. Warmth at night, shade from the sun, armor against scratches. And the few other naked mammals actually prove the point. Naked mole rats live underground, where it's a steady temperature and there's no sun. Elephants and rhinos are so huge, they have the opposite problem. They struggle to shed heat, and fur would only make it worse. Whales just swapped fur for blubber and moved into the ocean. We're the odd one out. A medium-sized, daytime land-running mammal that went bald. Almost nothing else on Earth fits that description. And here's the detail I love. We didn't actually go all the way. We kept hair in very specific spots. And every one of them has a job. The hair on your head shields your scalp from the sun beating straight down on it. Your eyebrows divert sweat sideways, so it doesn't pour into your eyes mid-chase. The patches you'd rather not discuss probably stuck around for scent and to cut down on friction. We didn't lose our hair randomly. Evolution kept it exactly where it still earned its keep. So, why did humans lose their fur? The honest answer, like most things in evolution, is that it wasn't one reason. It was a stack of them, piling up over more than 1 million years. It very likely started as a cooling system, so we could run prey to death under a savanna sun without overheating. It was reinforced by parasites, because bald skin is a worse home for the things trying to eat us. It got locked in by attraction, because we started finding smooth skin beautiful. And much later, fire and clothing let us get away with being naked even in places that should have frozen us solid. No single cause, just wave after wave, all pushing in the same bald direction, which brings us back to your own body and a tiny ghost it's still carrying. Next time you step out into the cold, or a piece of music hits just right, watch your arm. The skin prickles, the little hairs stand up, goosebumps. That reflex has a name and a purpose it can no longer perform. Those are tiny muscles, one at the base of every hair, trying to puff up your coat to trap warmth and make you look bigger. It's the exact same reflex that makes a cat or a dog fluff up when it's cold or startled. Except you don't have a coat anymore, so your skin keeps raising a fur that hasn't existed for over 1,000,000 years. That's what you are, a naked ape running a cooling system built for a marathon, still flinching with the instincts of a furry animal that's been gone since before you were even a species. So, would you actually take it back? Trade your 2,000,000 sweat glands for a thick, warm coat of fur? Let me know down in the comments. Until then, see you soon.